If you go into the water in GTA 5, your clothes only get wet up to where the water reaches. It's a small detail, but it's exactly these little things that make the game feel so alive. Now that you've got your clothes wet, let me tell you how long it takes to dry them off. 1 minute and 10 seconds to be precise. That's exactly how long it takes for the clothes to completely dry off, no matter what you're wearing. After you've exited your car after a long drive, if you listen closely, you can hear this tiny knocking sound, which is what happens when your engine cools down. When you're at a beach and leave your character idle for some time, they will actually start staring at, well, attractive women on the beach. Even the camera zooms in for clarity. This one's kind of weird, but pretty funny. When you're playing as Michael and have a 2 or 3 star wanted level, if the cops chase you inside your house and you take out a bunch of them, then head to Jimmy's room and start smoking a bong. The cops just stand there watching Michael get high and they don't do anything about it, which is strange, but definitely funny.
If only I didn't lie, cheat so much. If only I wasn't such an asshole.
I don't know if you guys remember this, but when you're unarmed in the car, you can actually show other drivers the finger by pressing the attack button. It's always cool to have that option.
And people say I'm a disgrace to society.
Not many people have noticed this, but during the Paleto score mission, the police say on the radio that they are setting up roadblocks to catch the robbers.
After that, we're going to set up checkpoints on the Great Ocean Highway and the Sonora Freeway. Car-to-car searches and record checks.
Most people just follow directions to steer away from roadblocks, of course, but if you check closely, those roadblocks are real checkpoints where cops actually stop and check every car. And once they spot you, there is no way out. You might have seen this giant chicken statue outside the Clock and Bell Farms factory, but if you zoom in on it, the chicken is actually wearing a traffic cone, which can be shot off, of course. We have driven hundreds of hours on GTA 5's roads, but have you stopped and noticed how there are basically no street names or even directions to the areas? This is really weird, but also gets me curious as to why. There are plenty of car modification garages in GTA 5, but one of them is actually called the Cartoon Network, which is a really clever way of referencing the Cartoon Network channel. You might have seen this building called Bishop's UTF with a UFO on it, and that is just another decoration piece from Rockstar. However, if you visit that museum and stand near that UFO, you will actually start to hear these strange alien noises coming out of it. Let me know what you guys think is happening there. You might have seen this Broiler Bites billboard from afar and just thought it's chicken wings or something like that. But if you zoom in on it, I mean, I don't even have to tell you what it shows. In GTA 5, there are these electric panels in certain areas of the game. If you touch them or get too close to one, you will actually get electrocuted and thrown away by the electric shock. This also happens when you run into the grid lines or the transformers. When you change the radio station in GTA 5, the dashboard in your car actually shows the exact name of the station that's playing. You can check this out by switching to first-person mode. Here's another cool thing you can only experience in first-person mode. When you put on sunglasses, your whole view actually gets tinted based on the shade of the glasses you're wearing. Pretty dope, I would say. And we all know how it's forbidden to use phones while driving. Even GTA 5 punishes you for that. If you're on your phone while driving, the game doesn't let you pull the handbrake because your hands are busy, nor can you change the radio station or change the headlights intensity. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this in GTA 5 before, but if you make your characters run non-stop, they can actually get tired to the point that they begin to have a heart attack. Everyone in Michael's family drives their own car, and if you check out Tracy's, her license plate says Perseus. This is actually the name of the high-end clothing brand from GTA 4. It's one of those sneaky ways Rockstar connects their games. We all know NPCs can call the cops if you mess with them for too long. But something a lot of people don't realize is that you can do the same to them. If an NPC starts attacking you, just pull out your phone and call the police. They will actually show up and defend you. You can also do that to the ammunition store owner. Just aim at him, let him flip out, then call the cops. They will actually roll up and take him down like he's the real criminal here. Not sure if this is a bug or Rockstar just trolling us, but if you call a taxi and ask it to drop you inside of the military base, it actually does. Like, it just drives right in, and yeah, the second you step out, the military goes full alert and starts shooting. It's hilarious because why would that even be allowed in the first place? If you ram your car hard into a wall or shoot up the engine, then hop back in and switch to first person mode, take a look at the dashboard. You will actually see the tiny engine light turn on. It's like in real life. It's a tiny thing, but it's crazy how detailed Rockstar went with stuff like this. If you mess with NPCs, bump into them or talk trash, they will usually start swearing and acting all tough. But as soon as you pull out a gun, their attitude completely changes and they become much more humble. During many of our encounters with Jimmy, he can be seen playing video games on his TV. However, here is something interesting that you guys might not have tried. When playing as Franklin during the car recovery mission, if you visit Jimmy's room and shoot his TV with a silenced gun, it gets blacked out, but Jimmy continues to play the game as if the TV is still on.
LOL, you suck Batman's dick.
Speaking of stealing cars, have you noticed that every character in GT5 steals car differently? Michael asks the NPC to get out of the car without using violence.
Forgive me, sweetheart.
On the other hand, Trevor right away bashes their head and drags them out of their car. It really depends on their in-game personality. We all know about Floyd's teddy on Trevor's truck that he is tied to the grills in the front like some sort of trophy. But if you turn on the first person cam inside of Trevor's truck, things get weirder. You can find these photos of women with suspicious looking white stains on them, and a message that says, "Don't forget to wipe." Here's something you might not have tried, but if you follow one of the other main characters outside of a mission for long enough, they will actually react to it. At first, they will throw out a few voice lines.
You go grab us a ride.
Clearly annoyed, but keep stalking them, and eventually they will turn around and smack you so hard you get knocked out cold.
Leave me alone.
Which triggers a full-on wasted screen. This is pretty weird, but when you run into the pedestrians sitting on the bench, they actually die, like instantly. In fact, all it takes is a simple nudge and they will just fall and die. Only in GT5 will you find something this hilarious. But head over to the car wash and check out the price list. A regular car wash costs $9, but for just $2 more, you get the car wash with a smile package. Most of us probably don't pay much attention to GT5's stock market, but if you do, you will notice it actually reacts to in-game events. For example, when Jay Norris gets killed on live TV, his company's stock takes a major hit and crashes. Here's another cool detail you probably missed. Expensive cars in GT5 have better soundproofing compared to the older models. When you're driving an old car in the rain, you can clearly hear the raindrops hitting the roof. But hop into a more fancy one, and those sounds practically disappear. It's pretty amazing for a game that's over a decade old, but in GT5, when an NPC dies, their body temperature actually drops, just like in real life. If you want to see it for yourself, use the thermal goggles. You will notice how the heat gradually fades from their body, which is a surprisingly realistic touch. Clocks in GT5 actually tell accurate time. It's not the real world time, but the accurate in-game time, which is updated in real time. Just look at any clock in the game, and if you want to check if it's working, just pull out your smartphone and compare. It will be totally accurate. It even works for the clocks inside shops you can't even enter. Pretty cool, don't you think? At Michael's house, you can find a gardener outside watering the plants. Everything looks normal until you make him drop the hose, and the water starts coming out of his hand instead. If you bump into NPCs wearing glasses, their glasses will actually fall off. The same thing happens if you throw a punch at them. I don't know if this is some sort of glitch or trick to save some processing power, but when you're at the lighthouse in GT5, if you look directly at the light, it moves around in circles. But when you look away from it, the light actually stops moving. It just stays right in the same place. This is something you might have heard before, But if you drive over stones with your car, they can actually break. In fact, they turn into tiny pieces. It's a small detail, but still fantastic. You can also find a newspaper article in GT5 featuring a photo of Johnny Klebitz with the headline that reads "Loves-Hate Relationship with Taxes," which originally showed up in GT4 tied to Donald Love. It's a nice throwback for those who have been playing since the old days. If you ever visit Lester's house, or lair, whatever you want to call it, you can find some really interesting stuff, like this book called Surveillance, which actually has a photo of CJ on the cover for whatever reason. When you go after an NPC who's walking their dog, the dog will actually jump in and start attacking you too, right alongside its owner. You might have seen this woman standing by the side of the road ready to hop into your car if it looks nice. What's funny is that they don't even notice if it's a police car until you turn on the siren. Then they freak out and run away as fast as they can. There are plenty of street artists in GT5 and some of them love to cosplay. You can find a bunch around Vinewood. One guy's dressed up like a zombie and he's like fully committed to it. Another one I saw was rocking a full Master Chief costume, which is awesome if you're a Halo fan. You've probably seen the big O fruit stalls all around Los Santos with that huge orange ball on top. What most of you don't know is that if you shoot at it, it actually breaks loose and rolls away. The ball is pretty heavy and can crush anyone standing in its way. You probably remember Michael's iconic line, "You forget 1,000 things every day, make sure this is one of them." But did you know it actually comes from a Solomon Richards movie called Arthur's Penny Sanitarium? The original line isn't an exact match. It goes,
We forget 1,000 things every day. Can't we just make this one of them?
Arthur Penny's Sanatorium.
Rockstar obviously tweaked it a bit. If you've just had a conversation with a character in GT5 and try calling them again right after, they will actually remember you just talked, and instead of the usual friendly chat, they will tell you to hang up and stop bothering them.
Are you serious? We just hung out. You gotta get a life.
Okay, well, then back to playing with myself.
Hey, Frank, let's do something.
Hey, can you call me another time? We was just speaking.
No worries, man. I'll see you soon.
Hey, homie, wanna hang out, man?
Hey, we was just talking, homie. You turning into one of them anterograde amnesiac niggas?
Okay, homie, some other time.
There are some spots in GTA5 where you can find telescopes meant for looking into the distance. But here's the thing, they're pretty useless compared to your phone's camera. If you zoom in with your phone, you can actually see way clearer and more detailed than through those telescope lenses. And honestly, we've barely scratched the surface. GT5 is packed with way more crazy details that most players never even notice. So if this blew your mind even a little, just wait till GT6 drops. We've all seen billboards in GT5 poking fun at real-life people and events. But have you noticed the one where the LSPD is hiring cops? Just check out what they are offering. A short career, long retirement, full pension, and a gun for life. A gun for life. Who wouldn't want to join, huh? If you ever happen to snoop around Michael's bathroom for whatever reason, you might spot a tube of toothpaste from a company called CJ's. Now at first, you might think, wait, did CJ from San Andreas go from gang life to making toothpastes? That's what I thought too, but after digging a bit deeper, turns out it's actually a little Easter egg from Rockstar. CJ is a nod to Campbell John Dick, one of their lead artists. On the other hand, if you visit Trevor's bathroom, you will find Lax to the Max lubricant and a bunch of tissues lying around, for whatever weird reason. Now, have you seen those barriers on the highway? You might be surprised to learn that they actually work. If you crash into them at high speed, your car barely takes any damage. That's way different from hitting a solid object, which usually breaks your car completely. I don't know if you have noticed this, but when it's raining, you can hear pattering sounds when the rain hits your car. Speaking of sounds, if you break your car's windows or windshield, glass pieces will fall on the ground, and when you walk over them, you can actually hear a crunching sound like the glass is breaking under your shoes. Speaking of shoes, did you know that the shoes that you wear also make different sounds? Something like slippers tend to make less noise compared to boots that make loud noises when you walk. You probably think Trevor's only got that one special ability. You know, the rage mode where he takes less damage and deals some extra. But that's not it. He's got another trick up his sleeve. Turns out, his truck has a special CB radio from his military days, and it lets him listen in on private conversations. It actually picks up frequencies that other vehicles just can't.
Hey, Clyde. I'm gonna be late to work. My car won't start.
Pretty cool, huh? In GTA 5 story mode, if you visit Franklin's aunt's house, there's a photo of a kid holding a basketball. That's actually young Franklin. It's a small detail, but pretty cool once you notice it. And if you missed it in the story mode, don't worry. You can still spot the same photo in GTA Online if you buy that house. While we're still at Franklin's aunt's house, don't forget to meet the Mario brothers at their front yard. There are two mushrooms, one short and red, and the other tall and green. It's most likely a sneaky reference to Mario and Luigi. Now if you go inside of Tracy's room, preferably when she's not invited anyone over, you can find a picture of what appears to be her grandparents. But they can't be Michael's parents, considering how he had a terrible childhood, and he wouldn't be carrying their photos around. And they also seem more closely related to Amanda, judging from their looks. So it's likely Amanda's parents. I'm sure you've all heard about the creepy abandoned place called the Derelict Motel, but did you know it's actually based on a real motel? It looks almost exactly like the one that used to be in Salton Sea, California. Rockstar really nailed the look to make it feel super authentic. Speaking of creepy stuff, if you visit the Rebel Radio building at night and stand right under the radio tower, you will hear this weird beeping sound. Fans actually figured out it's Morse code, and the message is a secret from the altruist cult. Here's what it says. It's been, I don't know how many years since I've been playing this game, but I've only just come to realize that fire trucks can actually be used to clean liquid stains from the ground. You can clean up blood from the street or even gasoline poured on the ground, which I'm sure most of you didn't know either, did you? In GTA 5, if you're out in the open at night and look up in the sky, you will see stars and even the moon. It looks really beautiful. But if you're in the middle of the city surrounded by buildings, you will notice that stars barely show up because of all the light pollution, which is actually a thing in real life. Have you guys noticed these strips while driving on the highway? These are called rumble strips, and they are placed on highways to wake the driver up in case they get sleepy driving. And so it seems that even GTA 5 has these strips on the highways to make sure that players don't fall asleep. Speaking of real-life safety measures, here's another one. Cars in GTA 5 by default have headlights that have high intensity on the driver's side and lower intensity on the opposite side. This is used in some countries to protect the oncoming traffic from getting blinded by headlights. When you're driving through a tunnel in GTA 5 while using the Jeep, you will actually lose the GPS signal for a bit. It's a small detail, but it shows how carefully Rockstar thought about even the little things in the game. NPCs in GTA 5 might seem a bit dumb sometimes, but they do try to stay alive. For example, when they're crossing the street and the light is red, they walk slowly. But as soon as the light turns green and they're still on the zebra crossing, they start running to get out of the way of traffic. Okay, this next one kind of makes sense, but if you shoot down a vending machine, it actually stops working. Also, when you shoot at an NPC's hand while they are holding onto something that they just grabbed from the vending machine, it actually falls off their hand. Speaking of broken things, if you shoot the siren on cop cars, they start making this weird glitchy sound. We all think GTA 5 was the first game in the series to feature multiple protagonists, right? Well, it turns out Rockstar originally planned that way back in San Andreas. According to Leslie Benzies, the team wanted to let players switch between characters, but the idea was scrapped because the tech just wasn't there yet. I mean, just think how cool that would have been though. So if CJ wasn't the only lead, who would rather want to play? Drop your top 3 picks down in the comments. Speaking of scrapped ideas, here's one you probably didn't know. During San Andreas development, there was actually another radio station planned called Dopelicious FM on top of all the stations we already have. For whatever reason, Rockstar ended up removing it from the final version. Kinda sucks honestly. If it had made a cut, we probably would have had even more hip-hop and R&B bangers to listen while shooting pets. This might sound really weird, and I almost didn't believe it when I first heard it, but there's a German version of GTA San Andreas where if you shoot down an NPC, nothing really happens. Unlike in the normal game, where they cough up money, in this one, they simply die. That's because the German censor board considered this whole game mechanic to be too brutal. I mean, come on guys. But you know what really is brutal and dark? NPCs just kinda unaliving themselves. I've mentioned NPCs doing weird stuff in past GTA videos, like in GTA 5, they will sometimes drive straight off bridges to die, but in San Andreas, they casually walk into the ocean, like they've had enough. Why does this happen? No clue guys. Maybe they have become self-aware and can't handle this cruel world anymore. Or it might be a subtle nod to Rockstar's old Lemmings game from the 90s where little dudes just leapt to their death for no reason. Speaking of old game references, remember that super weird mission in San Andreas where you drive a giant harvester and just mow down NPCs? Well, it turns out that whole thing was actually inspired by one of Rockstar's own older games called Body Harvest, same exact name, which dropped on the Nintendo 64. In that game, you were running over zombies instead of regular people, so it felt slightly less horrible. Do you all remember that annoying supply lines mission from Zero? The RC plane mission that had you take out moving vans with this tiny, wobbly RC plane and somehow not run out of fuel? Fans still rank it as one of the hardest and enraging missions in GTA history, right up there with Demolition Man. But guys, we're not alone here. Even David Cross, the guy who voiced Zero, hated it. He said in an interview, "It was so annoying, I hated it, and I couldn't freaking do it. The RC thing, it's impossible." We might not have smartphones in GTA San Andreas to take photos, but we do have a camera. And yeah, maybe you've handed it to one of your Grove Street homies to snap a photo, but did you know your girlfriends actually pose when you take photos? I mean, you just have to take the camera out while hanging out with one of your girlfriends, point it somewhere nice, and they will actually step into frame and start posing. While we're on the topic of CJ's girlfriends, let's talk about Denise. She's easily the chillest one to date, not too picky about where you take her, and super easy to please. But here's something most players don't realize. Denise might actually be a low-key call girl. It's never said outright, but there are a bunch of hints. She hangs around with the Los Santos Vagos, which is already suspicious in its own, and when you hit 100% progress with her, she gives you a pimp suit, and even her car is literally called a hustler, which is like the clear slang for a sex worker. Oh, and she apparently had 3 kids from unwanted pregnancies. This whole kinky stuff got me researching for some of the most random facts I could find about San Andreas, and I came across what could be considered the most important question where someone in the GTA forum asked if they were disappointed to learn these toys weren't for sale. But here's something really sus. These toys are mostly found inside police stations. That too in the showers of the Los Santos Police Department HQ in Pershing Square. I mean, why? Who at Rockstar thought, you know what this game needs? A nightstick-shaped surprise in the cop showers. Speaking of toys, if you ride your BMX into a paint shop, they actually deny you service by saying, "We don't do toys here." Like, literally. There's a sign near the railway track which appears to be a circle with a stop sign on it. But if you go around the back, the sign actually changes to a square. And if you've ever wondered how to find the center of GTA San Andreas map, let me make it easy for you. At the zero position of the map, there is a pole, which is only half the height of normal poles that you would see in the rest of the game. Now, I think this pole was actually supposed to be some sort of marker for Rockstar guys to keep track of the mid, but they forgot to remove it. Just saying. Rockstar might have forgotten to remove the pole, but they definitely meant to leave those bodies in this mass grave. The body bags mystery is one of San Andreas' creepiest unsolved puzzles. Nobody really knows what dug that grave or who those bodies belong to, but there are tons of wild theories. Some say it's the Syndico crime family, offing the rivals and dumping them there. Others think it might be Mary Beth Mabel, the K-Rose radio DJ who's always talking about her 5 ex-husbands 6 feet under. And then there's the theory that Mr. Trenchcoat, the mysterious dude in Las Venturas, might be behind it all. Mr. Trenchcoat might not be behind the murders, but that guy's surely creepy. He actually believes he was abducted by aliens, and he can only be found in a couple of areas including Bone County and Tierra Robada, and he's the only NPC who's always mumbling these crazy conspiracy theories.
Have you ever seen one of them? The aliens are coming! They're trying to kill me!
Alright guys, I will give you 3 seconds to name one vehicle that's literally undestroyable in GTA San Andreas. Your time starts now. Okay, time's up. Now I'm sure you all thought of that train, right? Well, too easy, but it's actually the BMX. No matter what you do with it, bombard it with rockets, grenades, whatever, it remains unscratched, and you still get to ride it. Now guys, Leviathan, I cannot pronounce this dang name, but Leviathan might not be our favorite helicopter in GTA San Andreas. However, it can do something really cool that other helicopters can't: float on water. You can just land it on the water, do your business, and take off. Now, have you guys ever noticed the wind flag at the old airstrip? If you actually pay attention, it really moves with the wind's direction. But that's not all. It also reacts to changing weather. When there's a thunderstorm rolling in, the flag gets way more active and wild. It's a small detail, but it's those little things that make San Andreas feel so alive. Speaking of thunderstorms, here's a cool little detail. If you're sitting still on a hoverboard out on the water during a storm, the thunderstorm actually pushes it around. The wind and waves don't just look real, they feel real too, messing with your hoverboard even when you're not moving. I might have mentioned this in past GTA Facts videos, but not a lot of people know that the Grove Street families we all love were actually called the Orange Grove families early on. Rockstar changed the name pretty late in development, but some leftovers are still in the game. You will spot graffiti with OGF instead of GSF, and CJ even randomly drops the old name in conversations when talking to other gang members. Now this might just be the weirdest thing in GTA San Andreas, but shooting the moon actually changes its size. You can simply use a sniper to make the moon look bigger, but what's interesting is that it's not a glitch. Apparently, the artists couldn't decide on the moon's size, so Obby Vermage decided to add this feature instead and let the players decide for themselves. We know CJ's mom, Beverly Johnson, died in that Ballas drive-by, but apparently she never really left the house. There have been reports of a ghost that looks just like her haunting the place. Some fans are totally convinced she's still hanging around, watching over Grove Street in her own creepy way. I don't know if you guys already know this, but there's actually a way to get CJ's health to max without using cheats. As soon as you start the game, the first thing you want to do is get an ambulance and complete the first 12 missions, which will bring CJ's health to a max of 176. It's easy and it's super fast. And if you complete all the 12 fire truck missions, CJ actually becomes fireproof. I mean, you can literally walk through fire and not get affected at all. I found this really funny video from Reddit. Check it out.
Give me some dap, homie. Hey, what's going on, man? Looking pumped, homie. You know what, homie? Something to...
Most pedestrians in GTA San Andreas, when they jump into the water, they instantly die like our guy Tommy Vercetti. However, if you get your GSF gang members to follow you into the water, they actually try to swim and manage to do so. Well, for a little while before drowning into the deep water. But I bet this is going to change in GTA 6. Don't you think? I'm sure you guys know about Lockdown, OG Lock's very own clothing brand. During its peak, Lockdown's outfits can be sold up to $200, but after the cutthroat business, OG Lock's reputation falls down. His business also takes a massive hit, with pricing getting as low as $15. I'm sure you've all been to casinos in San Andreas and lost a crap ton of money. But it doesn't end when you're zeroed out. In fact, CJ actually starts to go into debt when you keep on betting with no money in your account. In that case, CJ owes the casino a debt that actually needs to be paid by a certain time. Otherwise, the owner will send a bunch of goons to collect the money from CJ, and they will not be friendly. While we're still on the topic of missions, did you know that San Andreas has the most missions out of any GTA game with 100 storyline missions? This is followed by GTA 4 with 88 missions and GTA 5 with 69 missions, because why not? Now this might come as a surprise to you, but out of those 100 missions in GTA San Andreas, Sweet gives CJ the most missions, 15 to be precise. That's like the highest number of missions in all of GTA games, except for Salvatore Leon, who is given 19 missions in Liberty City Stories. GTA San Andreas has plenty of in-game brands where you could get anything from food to clothes and even weapons. But one of my favorites is Hippie Shopper, which is Rockstar's chic teenage joke. It's a parody of Happy Shopper, the real budget grocery chain, with almost the exact same logo, except instead of a happy woman, you get a chill, hippie looking lady with a bandana. We've all been to Reese's barbershop to get a fresh haircut for CJ, but if you look around the shop, you can find 5 photos hanging on the wall in the back. The men in these photos seem to resemble Jackson 5, the American pop band from the 1960s. And guys, once you get your fresh cut and about to leave, sometimes you can actually hear Reese asking CJ to tell Big Smoke to get a haircut.
Tell Big Smoke he needs a cut.
Which is ironic because Big Smoke is bald. Obviously, with CJ giving police the run for their money, it's only fair that the cops know him by his name. So when they actually manage to bust CJ while he's wanted, they would call CJ by his name, urging him to stop this nonsense. He doesn't, of course.
Welcome home, Carl. Glad to be back. You haven't forgotten about us, have you, boy?
Hell no, Officer Tenpenny. I was just wondering what took y'all so long.
This whole thing has given birth to a theory where some fans think that cops actually believe CJ is a monster who keeps on resurrecting. That's why they start shooting him at sight even for the tiniest infractions, like bumping into their car by mistake. We already know Rockstar loves sneaking little connections between their games, and GD San Andreas is no different. If you head over to the trailer park and Flint intersection, take a close look at the propane gas tanks, zoom in and you will see Carcer gas printed on them. That's a sneaky nod to Carcer City, one from Rockstar's other game, Manhunt. But that's not it. During the architectural espionage missions, you can also spot a picture of a church named Carcer's Church. Apparently, the fishes in GD San Andreas can actually swim, even when they are dead. It's some sort of glitch that occurs when you shoot the fishes with rockets or try to blow them up with grenades. They simply start floating above the water surface. Now, weather and terrain not only affect planes and vehicles, they even have an impact on NPCs with rollerblades. See how they move effortlessly on footpaths, but when they try to move fast on the beach, they actually get stuck in the same place, barely moving inches no matter how hard they try. Have you guys ever wondered what happened to CJ after the events of GD San Andreas? Well, turns out he lived a life of crime and used all the money he earned into going legit. And apparently, he did become a businessman, as you can tell from his billboard seen in GD 4. He's CJ, right? Apparently, CJ's mom isn't the only ghost in GD San Andreas. We also have ghost cars. Well, basically, they have been named ghost cars by the players because they spawn in remote countryside areas of the map and they drive around with no driver inside. I mean, that truly sounds like a ghost car to me. Among all weird things in GD San Andreas, this phenomenon is more of a proven thing than a hoax. If you stand still and stare at the sky at night, you can spot these random black dots falling from the sky at very high speed. No one really knows what they are and why they seem to be falling from the sky all around the map, but they just do, so do what you will with this info. Stars aren't the only thing that seems to be falling from the sky. On Mount Chiliad, you can find NPCs randomly spawning and jumping straight off the mountain. Surprisingly, they don't die. They just fall right down at the bottom and find their way to the nearest road. Here's something more random and yet at the same time quite mysterious. When you take this path along Fort Carson movie theater and then head to the trailer park, you will experience an explosion near the liquor shop. If you take a closer look, it's likely from the bike parked there, but the bike is unscratched. So what really happened here? Well, there's also a Molotov, which could be the one that exploded. Okay, trust me, this is the last ghost thing I'm gonna talk about. Just like the ghost cars, you can also spot a ghost Maverick. It has no guns attached, no searchlight, no loudspeaker, and yet it has all of them somehow. If you manage to take a look inside, there is not even a pilot. I also found this super old video by a YouTuber named Afi Kasasi. It's 15 years old and super blurry, but you can see he spotted the scaffolding around the building with blood marks on the floor. Could it just be paint? I mean, the building's kinda under construction. What do you guys think? I'm sure you guys know about the hot coffee controversy, but that isn't the only time GD San Andreas crossed the line. In fact, there's a designated area in GD San Andreas located near the northeastern edge of Red County, near Palomino Creek, and according to Ellis Police Department, it's a local beauty spot notorious as a makeout location, popular with young couples and dirty old men. Of course, you don't see anything fishy happening now, but who knows how San Andreas could have turned out without all those restrictions. We all know there are no children in GTA games, because of its super violent nature. And of course, Rockstar don't want to have to deal with any more legal stuff with every single GTA game. But they were supposed to be part of GTA's world. We see abandoned strolls in the game, mention of children in radios, and there is even a portrait of a family hanging out in Reese's shop with a female kid standing beside her parents. But you know what's more interesting? This NPC might actually have been a kid, because in rare instances, when you hit her with your car, they actually squeal like a kid and even scream "mommy" for some reason. Back in 2018, data miners found this trash can texture that read 23, and this weird word, which kinda read Kefron or Keflom. Fans thought it was somehow related to the mysterious Epsilon project, but if you pay attention to Truth's conversation with CJ, he also mentions the number 23. Take a listen to this conversation.
Do you know how many government satellites are watching any citizen at any moment?
No.
23. Do you know how many religious relics are kept at the Pentagon?
No, I don't.
23. You see a pattern emerging here, man?
Man, I'm seeing patterns all over the place. Get that smoke out my face.
He says how there are 23 religious relics kept at the Pentagon with a total of 69. He tells him about 2/3 of those, with 1/3 still missing, and some fans believe this trash can could just be it. The Genotron is an arcade game inside of GTA San Andreas that you might have already seen billboards of. It seems harmless. I mean, it's an arcade game device after all, but apparently not. According to Martin Trill, this game is actually a government project that is designed to feed cryptic messages into people's brains to control their thoughts.
I hear what you're saying about video games. People are dying every day of malaria, and it's all because of the messages planted in our minds from that degenitron in the 80s. Line 18.
And it's actually based on the real-life Polybius urban legend, according to which it was part of a government-run crowdsourced psychology experiment with gameplay producing intense psychotic and addictive effects in the player. Well, that's creepy. Rockstar and their pun with statues go hand in hand. We've seen Hillary Clinton's statue in GTA 4 as the Statue of Happiness, but in GTA San Andreas, during the US business missions, you can actually find a statue which kinda shows a man, well, satisfying his urges, while 4 other statues surrounding it covered their eyes in disbelief. And wait, is that a freaking penis? After all this kinky stuff, if you're feeling like making a confession to God, you even got a freaking drive-thru confession cabin in GTA San Andreas where passerbys can stop and receive a sermon. If you think GTA San Andreas has the weirdest stuff in all GTA games, check out this video where I talk about every useless fact I could find in the GTA series for 50 minutes straight. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, y'all.